pretty straightforward. You launch, you get connected to instance, that's it. This one, change administrator the password and try to log in with a key pair generated password and your change password. Which one is working? Change password only works. So generally in organizations, we don't share key pair with everyone. Whatever instance we are going to launch, basically we have a concept called golden AMI. After 2 or 3 sessions later, we'll come to that. So we will change administrator password. We will set up a custom password. So for for example, you have a server, that server required for 2 or 3 developers. Now, are we going to give 3 users access on AWS to browse the key pair to generate the password? No. As a AWS guy, we are going to launch. We will get connected to that by using that auto-generated password. We will change the password. Then we will give public IP address, username, and password. Do you really need to provide AWS access? No, that guy required server access. So you gave server public IP address, username, password for that user. You no need to provide any AWS access. So you have, if you want to perform any modifications, you can go and you can do that. So that guy required only OS level access. So that's the reason I have given this second task. You got the concept why I gave the task? Okay. So fine. So now, as I told you, 2 or 3 users are going to work on the same server. But all the 4 users are going to administrate a user? No. We most of the times don't share administrator password. We will create a new user for that user. Okay, user 1 is there, create a username, user 1. User 2 is there, create a username. How they can get connected to it? With the help of remote desktop connection. So, and generally, if you don't provide this local administrator rights, that guy can't install anything, can't modify anything. He can log in if you provide this remote desktop permissions. This is for logging permissions. This is to install something to perform something. Okay. So that's the reason I have given the task 3. So any questions on these tasks?
Hi, Vinesh. Hi, Vinesh. Adil this side.
One second. Newly created user. He can shut down. No, you just give a try or else I'll launch one, right? I'll show you, but we can shut down from newly created user also. Yeah, someone is about to ask a question. Please go ahead.
Hi, Vinesh. Adil this side.
Yeah, Adil.
Actually, I'm new to all this. I'm new to the IT field. And in my system, I'm using the operating system is endless operating system. While I am downloading remote desktop app, I'm unable to download that app. I downloaded alternate app. When I downloaded that app, when I tried to create that task one, I fully completed. When I second task, during that remote desktop, when I'm typing anything, that nothing happens on screen. System got blank. Do I need to change my operating system from endless to window or anything?
Which operating system you're using now?
I think that one is Linux, endless operating system.
Linux also have tools, right? Remote desktop. So if you're able to complete this task, so that means you're able to get connected to it. So once you get connected, you can continue with these tasks also. So not sure why that application is unresponsive. Just give a try again. By closing different programs, maybe some hardware issues or compatibility issues. So, but just give a try again, and whatever the error it is giving, you just post in Slack.
Sure.
I'll pick that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, Avinash, one question.
Yes, please.
So yesterday during creating Windows VM, you are saying that so we need to create in a nearby location. I mean, wherever the users are there, so we need to create in that a specific location.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So that is okay for VM. But during S3, I think you mentioned like there is no location specific for creating S3, right? Storage.
But okay, so whenever you're creating an S3 bucket, fine. The platform is global platform. So it won't ask you whether you are in Mumbai region, Northern Virginia region and all.
Okay.
So, but whatever the bucket you are creating, it is asking you to specify a region, right? So the difference between this global and selecting a region here is this global will show all the region resources. Will show Mumbai region one, Northern Virginia one, Singapore one, whatever region you are creating a bucket, doesn't matter. It will show on the same screen. But you, whatever the data you're uploading to the bucket, it need to store in one of the availability zone only, right?
Correct.
So we are selecting that here. So it's always recommended to choose this region near to the end customer.
Right. So that is okay. So, but so my question is here. So the VM which we created and the storage what we created, so both of them should be on the same region, right? Or it is not necessary.
Storage means, see, S3 bucket names are unique.
Yeah.
S3 bucket names are unique. So where exactly our server is doesn't matter. If our server is in Mumbai, we can access Mumbai data. If our server is in Northern Virginia, we can access still Mumbai data. It doesn't matter. Why? Because these names are unique across the globe. That's the reason. Okay. But we will get latency. If your server is in Mumbai, your bucket is in Mumbai.
Exactly.
So then, yeah, data transfer pretty quick. But if it is in different regions, right, you will definitely get some latency.
Exactly. That's what my question is.
Yeah. Okay. So here in today's session, we are going to launch a Linux EC2 instance. Then we will see how we can get connected to that Linux EC2 instance. And we'll start with some basic Linux commands, time permits. Okay. So first of all, Linux is an open source. Okay. So open source means anyone can get access to the source code. Okay. So basically a guy called Linus Torvalds, he written Linux kernel. So it's intermediate thing between hardware and operating system. So that is very lightweight compared to Windows. And most of you guys are very familiar with the Windows operating system, right? So why? User-friendly user interface. We have user interface with Linux operating systems also.
Stable environment.
So Linux is very, very lightweight. So how much time it is going to take to boot your Windows machine whenever you turn on? 5 minutes. But have you ever faced that issue with any Linux operating system? No. So Linux is super fast compared to Windows. Okay. So Linux is more secure also compared to Windows. It's very lightweight. The hardware configuration required to run a Linux operating system is very, very less. So if you run Windows 10 or Windows 11 operating system with 4 GB RAM, how fast it is going to be? Very, very slow. Okay. Even when Windows 11 comes, I upgraded from Windows 10 to Windows 11. What happened? It became very slow. Okay. So the hardware compatibility issues are more in Windows operating system compared to Linux. So basically in Linux, we have a lot of tools to connect. The reason it is open source. So as I told you, open source means anyone can take the source code. They can modify based on the requirement. And they can distribute it for any purpose. For commercial purpose, for educational purpose, for non-government purpose. They can use it for any purpose. That's the reason in Linux operating system, in Linux, we have different flavors. So some commonly used ones are CentOS, Red Hat, SUSE Linux, Fedora, Ubuntu, Kali Linux, Backtrack operating system, Backtrack Linux. Right. So Amazon Linux, Amazon also taken same thing. Amazon, for what they did, they have taken Linux source code, they modified and they released with their own operating system. HP company, they taken source code, they developed and they have their own Linux operating system. IBM, they have their own Linux operating system. Right. So these all, they are taking actual source code, they are modifying based on the requirement, they are releasing their own versions. Some organizations Red Hat and all, to provide that support, they will cost us. Some operating system involved with some licensing also. But if you're taking CentOS, no license, nothing, it's a community version. Anyone can go and they can download and they can start using it. So similar way, Amazon have its own Linux operating system called Amazon Linux. We will discuss with Amazon Linux. So it comes under Fedora family. Primarily, we have Fedora family and Debian family. The CentOS, Red Hat, Amazon Linux, these all comes under Fedora family. Ubuntu, right? That comes under Debian family. So this all Fedora family commands are going to same. For example, you already familiar with CentOS or you already familiar with Red Hat. It's not at all difficult to execute. You can execute same commands, nothing different. You can execute same commands in Amazon Linux also. And some commands even more simplified. If you want to stop service or if you want to restart service, you need to use systemctl command and all. But what AWS did, they made it very simple. Okay, service, package name, start, stop, restart. Very easy to remember also. And whoever uses this AWS, right, they prefer to go with the Amazon Linux. The reason, AWS provide free support, 5 years support for these operating systems. Okay, patches they will release. They will release patches, they will take care about all the security things and all. If you found any issue, you can contact AWS, they will help us. So because of that 5 years also, we go with the Amazon Linux. However, the launching process, connectivity process is same. If you are using CentOS, if you are using Amazon Linux or Red Hat, the default username is different, but the connectivity process, whatever the tool you are using, this is all same. Okay. So my first suggestion, if you already have experience with Linux operating system, that is well and good. Okay. But if you don't have any experience with Linux operating system, this is a right time to start. Trust me, it is not at all difficult. Once you habituated with Linux operating system, right, you start hating Windows. Okay. So even in my very first job is Windows and VMware administrator. At that time, I have a heavy fear. Okay, for every single thing we need to execute a command. For every single thing, do we need to execute a command? So that is the first thing always came to my mind whenever I want to start Linux operating system. Okay, to go to next folder, okay, we need to execute a command. To list something, we need to execute a command. But once you habituated with these very basic commands, it's not at all difficult. And as it is an open source, we have lot of communities that can help us to identify the issue or fix the issue. Someone might already face and they're going to provide the solution. So compared to Windows, Linux is easy. First, keep that Windows is user friendly. Windows is it's very easy to keep that aside. Okay. Start learning Linux from now onwards. Right. So first, I'm going to quickly launch a Linux EC2 instance. I'll get connected to it from my local laptop. For that, so if you are using any Mac operating system or if you are using any Linux operating system, you don't require any additional software. You don't. Basically, all Linux operating systems comes with a terminal. Here, this is what terminal is. How exactly we have command prompt in Windows. Similar way, Linux operating system comes with a terminal. This terminal by defaultly supports a command called SSH. SSH means, what is the port number of SSH? Port number 22.
22.
Yeah.
Secure.
Secure shell. SSH means secure shell. It works with port number 22. So by defaultly your system knows SSH command. But if you open Windows command prompt, if you gave SSH directly, it won't recognize that command. So we can install OpenSSH. We can enable OpenSSH in Windows operating system. Then you can use command prompt only. Okay. So now we can use this option. Otherwise, we have lot of third-party applications. We have lot of third-party Putty, MobiXterm. We have Kitty also. Okay. So you can use one of the supported tool and you can get connected to it. So first, let's launch a Linux EC2 instance. Navigating to instances, launch instance, launch instance. I'm going to call this as a my Linux instance. All right. So you can give any name, but in organization, we follow one specific naming standard that I'll talk later. So here you can see Amazon Linux. So you have Amazon Linux, you can pick that. And here we have Amazon Linux latest kernel 5.10. Go and pick that. It comes under free tier eligibility. You see here. It comes under free tier eligibility. Scroll down. What configuration we need to pick? Potato Micro. And key pair, if you have access to existing key pair, you can pick it. If you deleted this, or if you whatever the file you downloaded for this one, you have deleted from your local laptop. It still shows here. If you pick it, you cannot get connected to it. Okay. So I'm going to create a new key pair. So if you go with proceed without a key pair, again, we cannot get connected to it. So click on create a new key pair and here key pair name. What exactly name you want to give for this key pair? I'm calling it as a my Linux KP. All right. So now what file format you required? Do you need .pem format file or .ppk? So if you are going to use Putty, a tool called Putty to get connected to this instance, so you can use this .ppk format. PPK means Putty private key. Again, can we use .ppk with any command prompt or terminal? No. If you want to use any third-party tools like a MobiXterm and all, then you need ppk file. However, if you have this PEM file, we can convert it to ppk. PEM works with Windows operating system as well as Linux operating system. It works with both the operating systems. Okay. So you can download a PEM file, you can convert it. That is one option. Otherwise, okay, you decided, okay, why we need to download PEM and convert it to PPK. I know what Putty tool is. I'm going to use Putty tool. So I can directly download .ppk file and I can use it to get connected to instance. So option is yours. I'll show both. Okay. So I'm selecting .pem file. I'm selecting .pem file. Then click on create key pair.
Avinash, can you just explain on key pair type also? We have two options.
We have two options. This one's it's an encryption mechanism. It's just whatever logic AWS is going to use. Okay. So that whatever key pair, basically we are downloading a key pair, right?
Yes. Correct.
That key pair works with encryption and decryption mechanism.
Okay.
AWS is going to have public key. And we got private key here.
Private, yes.
Okay. So now whenever we want to get connected to our EC2 instance, we need to browse this private key. What AWS will do, it will validate whatever the key you have browsed. It will verify whether public key and private key is matching or not. If you browse a wrong key, decryption won't happen, right?
Yes,
For that decryption, whatever logic it is using. So we have RSA encryption mechanism. Okay. So this AWS is going to use this RSA encryption mechanism. It's a reversed Shamir Adelman. That's a logic name. RSA is a logic name. So along with that RSA, we have ED 25519. So that is also one of the logic only. Okay. So this is also one of the logic. It works with this mechanism. Okay, don't try to understand that. It's a time waste thing. Just go with that.
Okay, so basically it's only used to decrypt the key between private and public.
Yes.
Okay.
So again, if you are selecting this ED 25519, it won't support Windows operating system. So RSA is widely used one in market. So go with RSA option. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So here I have created a key pair, and whatever the key pair I downloaded, I will move it to my key pairs location for easy management purpose, for finding that file easily. I'll always move these key pairs to a folder in my desktop. That is the reason, nothing more. Okay. So now network. So go with the default options. And if you, obviously, this is a Linux instance. Yesterday, we have created a security group. Can we go and pick that? Yeah. Select an existing security group. You go here, select Windows SG. But this is created for Windows instances. We have opened only 3389, but we are launching a Linux instance. Linux works with only SSH, right?
22.
So whatever security group you are using here, it must be opened with port number 22. Otherwise, you cannot get connected to it. You cannot get connected to it. So you have two options. You go and edit this security group. Otherwise, create a new security group. My preference is I'll create a new security group. For yesterday's one, I'm going to use it for all Windows. Whatever one I'm creating today, I'll use same for all Linux instances. One thing, you no need to create a new security group for every single EC2 instance. If you launch 10 instances, do you really need to create 10 security groups? Not really required. Create one for all Linux instances, create one for all Windows instances. That is how we follow. Okay. So I'm going to call this as a my Linux SG. Okay. And I'm going to give description as a security group for all Linux instances. Okay. Now, what port? Port number 22. That is nothing but SSH. So from where you want to get connected? Only from currently connected network IP, or custom you want to provide IP address ranges here, or you give anywhere. Let's go with anywhere for now. It's not recommended to open for anywhere in real environments. We always go with the custom. We always go. I'll give a question answers window. Give me a second.
Sir, anywhere is
Okay.
nothing but anyone can access, sir. Otherwise, we can access anywhere.
Any network user can access. Anywhere means where the user is sitting doesn't matter. He's sitting in India, he's sitting in US, Africa, doesn't matter. If he have username and password, if he have username and key pair, he can get connected to it. That is anywhere.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
If we select my IP, let me complete, sir.
Yeah,
If we select my IP, so now I'm sitting in Naresh IT. So if I want to get connected to the server, I must present in this Naresh IT network only. So for example, I set my IP, I have given username and password, or I have given username and key pair to you. You still cannot get connected to it. Why? Because it picked only currently connected network IP address. So that is my IP address of my IP option. Okay. When coming to this custom, when coming to custom, so for example, you want to give some remote network IP address. You are sitting in Naresh IT, but you are launching the server for your corporate users. So you want to make it available for all your corporate users. So then you gave your corporate IP address. Okay. So you can open same port multiple times if required. Okay. So for now, I'm going with anywhere. Yes, go ahead with your question. Is that clear or any doubt?
Yeah, clear. Thank you, sir. But when you putting that 00 means, sir, all zeros means?
Every single network. These all zeros
Oh,
means all the network across the globe.
okay, all the networks. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, clear, sir. Thank you so
Avinash,
much.
Yes.
Avinash, can we add any number of IP addresses in custom?
We can. So, but basically there is a limit. If you are adding more number of rules, basically we can add 120 rules, including inbound and outbound rules. So, if you are like, if you want to add more than 100 and all, you create another security group and you add to your EC2 instance. Okay. So we can technically, yes, we can, but more number of rules you are going to add, more latency it will increase. It will evaluate all the rules.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I'm opening port number 22 here for anywhere. Okay. So then 8 gigs is fine. 8 gigs is fine. So now I'm going to enable one additional option. Expand advanced details. Scroll down. And here we have an option called termination protection. Termination protection. So you know what is terminate, right? Terminate means deleting.
Delete.
You're completely deleting it. So if you, for example, sometimes accidentally we might delete. Have you ever deleted or did something accidentally? Yeah, most of us in our phones and all, somehow accidentally we might delete it, right? Similar way, you might accidentally deleted an EC2 instance, right? But instance is very, very important for us. So if you don't want to get into that such type of scenarios, okay, so you can enable this termination protection. Okay, it's a termination protection. So enable this protection. If you really want to terminate, you need to disable the protection, then only it allow you to terminate. You got it? So we are adding additional step for the termination process. If you go and if you try to terminate, it will give an error. Okay, so I'm enabling the termination protection. Then click on launch instance. How many instances do you require? 1, 2, or 3, or 5? We need only one for now. Then click on launch instance. Okay, so Linux instance is launched now. I'll quickly launch for Windows. Why? Because I want to explain that putty process and all, right? But my local laptop is a Mac OS. So to explain that, I'll use this Windows machine. See how quickly I launched? And generally Windows instance, right? It will take minimum 4 minutes to get ready. Even it change its status immediately. In some seconds, it will change its status to running state. But if you want to get connected to it, you need to wait at least 3 to 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. Okay. So the reason within that instance, we have a service called EC2 config. That service need to be up and running to perform that encryption decryption operations. So, but Linux is pretty quick. Okay. So now here is my Linux instance. I want to get connected to this Linux instance. Okay. So if you're using Mac operating system, or if you're using any Linux operating system like CentOS, Fedora, Ubuntu, Debian, whatever. Okay. So this is a process. So grab your instance keeper, open the terminal. Here by default, you will get a terminal. This is my default terminal, okay? First, go to the location where you have the key pair. So where I have the key pair, if I gave ls, I don't have key pair here. Key pair is on my desktop. There is a folder called key pairs. Okay, go to that location. Go to that location. So here, give ls to confirm. Okay, you see here, this is my Linux kp.pem. This is key pair I have added to this EC2 instance. When you click on connect, it will show SSH client option. You see here, this is a command to get connected to it. So the command is, as I told you, SSH by default will be available. SSH space -i. -i is like a identification. We are providing our identification with the help of a key pair called mylinuxkp.pem. Then space, then EC2-user is a default username. Then give @ and provide your instance public IP address. This is the command. If you are using any Linux operating system, with the help of this command, you can get connected to it. Okay? So then click on enter. So it's saying, are you sure you want to connect? Type yes, then click on enter, and it gives an error. We have not connected. It said permission denied. Okay, how you are saying we have not get connected to it? So type who am I? So you see here it is showing my username. So within this machine, I have given my username as Avisve. Okay, so it's showing same thing here. If I get connected to my instance, it should show user as a EC2-user. But I have not connected and it is giving an error called permissions are too open. This is one of the common error you will get. To overcome this error, to fix this error, you need to execute a command called chmod 400, then give the key pair. This command, chmod 400 means we are providing read-only permission to only current user. Click on enter. If you forgot this command, you do one thing. Select your instance. Okay, here is our instance, right? Select the instance, click on connect. Go to the third option called SSH client. See, don't worry about remaining options. I'll talk about that. Okay, go to SSH client. Scroll down. You can find, see, this is open SSH client. Locate your private key and run this command if necessary. If you are getting error, then only run this command. chmod 400 mylinuxkp.pem. Okay, so here you can find the command. So execute that command here, it executed. Now SSH -i mylinuxkp.pem EC2-user @ give your instance public IP address or private IP address? Public IP address.
Public.
Provide that public IP address here. Then click on enter. Now you see we got connected. How we can confirm? Who am I? I'm working as EC2-user. If I type exit, I came back to my local laptop. How we can verify? Who am I? I'm working as Avisve. So this command will help us to get connected to our Linux EC2 instances. chmod 400 will help us to fix permissions are too open error. Okay, so this is one process if you are using this Linux operating system as your base one. Clear with this?
What is this
Okay.
172 IP, Avinash? 172.31.
This one. So you attended yesterday session?
Okay, private. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a private IP address.
Okay.
Yesterday I gave an example, right? Chinna Kanna Bujji is this.
Yeah.
And this is a unique one. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is with if you are using Mac OS or any Linux. So now let me exit from here. Now, I'll quickly get connected to this Linux instance, Windows instance to show whoever uses Windows operating system. Okay, so you know the process, right? Grab the instance public IP address or download the remote desktop file and add a new connection. Given the public IP address, then give a double click. It will ask you to enter username and password. Okay, default username is administrator. Password, click on connect, go to RDP client, scroll down, get password, click on get password, upload private key file, go and select the key pair you have associated. If you give wrong PEM file, you see what happens. An error decrypting your password. Why? Because I browsed wrong key pair. So you must browse valid key pair. Upload private key. I selected a valid one. Then decrypt the password. Here is a password. Enter that password here. Then click on continue. Okay. So I got connected to my Linux instance. Okay, I got connected to this Windows instance. So let's assume, so this is a, like, my base operating system is a Windows one. So I'm going to explain how we can get connected to Linux instance if you are using Windows. Okay, here in Windows, we have multiple options, guys. We can use GitHub option. We can use PuTTY option. Okay, we can use terminal option, or as I told you, we have a lot of alternatives also, mobile system and all. So you stick to one tool. So PuTTY is widely used one. PuTTY is widely used one. You stick to PuTTY. Okay. So now this is my operating system. So I want to, first of all, so I want to download PuTTY. So as I told you, I want to use PuTTY. So I want to download PuTTY first. So for that, we have a website called putty.org. Go to that website. Let me do one small thing. Again, if you want to get connected to a Linux instance, you don't need to launch a Windows instance. As I don't have Windows operating system, I'm launching a Windows server to demonstrate. So you guys install PuTTY in your local laptop only. Okay. So I'm opening the required website, that is putty.org. Here. Type putty.org website. I think I typed wrong. Okay. So here you have an option called download PuTTY. Click on download PuTTY. Right. So we have installer, Microsoft installer, and we have directly double click and used executable ones. So any of the one is fine. So my suggestion, go with this MSI. Okay. Download this 64-bit x86. Select, when you click on this link, right, it is downloading automatically. Save it in your local laptop first. So go to downloads location. So here the file downloaded. Okay. So once file is downloaded, we are good. So once file is downloaded, right, you install it. Installation, very easy. Double click, run. Sir, someone please be on mute if you don't have any questions. I'm getting some background noise. Click on next, 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 and finish. Okay, so now Putty tool installed. Not only Putty, so like we have some more Putty options also, Putty tools also, that also installed successfully. Okay, so how we can confirm? Go to start, search for Putty here. Here we got Putty option, right? Expand it, you got all these options. So our primary one is Putty. Open that Putty tool. Okay, this is how exactly the tool looks like. Here, host name or IP address. So we need to provide our instance public IP address here. So let's grab the instance public IP address. Given that public IP address here, port number 22. Okay, make sure you select SSH here, port number 22. So then click on open. See, I'm not browsing any key pair. Let's see what happened. Click on open. It is giving a little security alert. Click on accept. Okay, it is asking me to log in as EC2-user is a default username. Then click on enter. It is giving Putty fatal error. If you are getting this error, that means you have not browsed the key pair or you have browsed the wrong key pair. Okay, so this is one error. Now let me open Putty again. And this time I'm going to browse the key pair. Where is the key pair? Key pair is on desktop. But you remember, I have downloaded PEM format file. See, now I am saying I want to use Putty, but I downloaded PEM format. Will Putty support PEM format? No. So we need to convert PEM to PPK. Otherwise, you directly download PPK and use it. If you don't want to convert it, directly download PPK and use it. I'll show that also. Okay. So now let's open Putty again. Okay, I'm opening Putty again. It's a bit slow. Why? Because it's a Windows operating system. Okay, so Putty is now open. So give your public IP address here. This is my instance public IP address. I'm giving that public IP address here. Port number 22. So I decided to browse my key pair. So in left pane, under connections, you can find an option called SSH. Expand that SSH. Select auth, authentication. So don't expand this authentication, just select auth. Okay. So whenever you select this SSH and authentication, oh, where is that? Is it updated? When you select this authentication, come on. Okay, select the credentials. You see here, there is an option called private key file for authentication. Okay, you see here under connection, SSH, authentication, credentials. So, private key file for authentication. Click on browse. Click on browse. Go to desktop. Why? Because key pair is on my desktop or on key pairs folder. So go to that location where you have key pair and you see here it's not showing anything. The reason, the filter is set to list only PPK file. So click here, select all files. Then the PEM file is showing. So I'm selecting the PEM file. Click on open. I know it is going to give error, but I want to show that error. That's the reason. Okay, then click on open. So it is giving a different thing now. It's saying unable to use key file. It is in old PEM format, something like that. Error it is giving. So you give username EC2-user, then click on enter. It is giving again putty fatal error. Again, the reason problem with the key pair. The problem is with the key pair. So now the reason is we are trying to use putty application. Okay, but putty works with only putty supports only PPK format. But it is in PEM format, right? So it won't support. So you need to convert this PEM to PPK. For that, you go to start. There is a tool called PuttyZen. Expand putty. You see here, PuttyZen. Select the PuttyZen. Select the PuttyZen. Open PuttyZen tool. So PuttyZen is a tool that helps us to convert PEM file to PPK file. Okay, so you no need to generate. Generate is to create a new set of public key and private key. But we already have PEM format, that is a private key, but unsupported one. So click on load. Click on load. Navigate to desktop, where exactly you have your key pair, right? Go to that location. Again, select all files here. You are in the right path, but you are not able to see the file. Then click here, select all files. So here is my PEM file. I'm selecting that PEM file. Click on open. So it's imported successfully. Now click on save private key. Click on save private key. Don't select save public key. It won't work. Click on save private key. So if you want to set up any password, you can set up. Whenever you want to use this key pair, you need to enter this password. So that is not mandatory, but additional security you can add. Click on save private key. Do you want to save without password? Yes. Then navigate to desktop. Give the name. I'm going to give same name, my Linux KP. Okay. Then click on save. So you see here a new key file got created, but this file format is PPK. If you go to file format and all, file property and all, it will show this file format is .ppk. You see, it's a putty private key. Got it? So now we can go and use this. So open putty application. So I'm opening putty application. Okay, so we need to give public IP address of our instance. Under connection, expand authentication, select authentication and credentials, private key file for authentication. Click on browse. On desktop, we have a key pair, my Linux KP. So this is a PPK file. Select it, click on open, then click on open. And username is EC2-user. Then click on enter. Now we got connected without any issue. Okay. So if you don't give key pair, you cannot connect to it. If you give PEM format, you cannot get connected to it. Okay. You must give PPK format if you want to use putty application. One thing I want to mention. Hey Avinash, why I need to download PEM? Why I need to convert it to PPK? So can't we create a PPK file directly? You can. While launching the instance. So if you decided to use PPK, so you select your Amazon Linux, T2 Micro, go here while creating key pair, putty supported key is the name I'm giving. Simply select .ppk, then create key pair. Now what happened? You no need to convert PEM to PPK, directly use PPK format. Okay, it eliminates some additional activities. But I want to show that process also. That's the reason I did that. Okay, it's always up to you. This is one process. Okay, so now you decided to use your Windows terminal. Then what you can do, enable Open SSH option. That is one more option we have, enable Open SSH. Then you can. So it's not available in server class. It's available in on client class, like a Windows 7, Windows 10 and all. It's there, you enable it. But my recommendation, use putty. Okay, so that is the first thing. Otherwise, what you can do is, we have an option called GitHub option. Okay, that I'll explain now. So download Git for Windows. There is a tool called Git. Okay, so just go to Google. Look for Git for Windows. Okay, so there is a link called git-scm. Go to git-scm.com, navigate to the location, and you see here, download Git for Windows. Select that, whatever, run it or install, download and install it. It's running security scan. Okay, it is installing now. Putty. Oh, no, not this one. This one, yeah. Okay, click on next. Go with all the default options, guys. Next, 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 next. Install. Okay, so I'm downloading Git into my machine. Okay, the Git installation is now completed. So I want to use this Git to get connected to my Linux instance. Okay, so for that it's very easy. Go to the location where you have the key pair. My key pair is in this location, right? Once you install Git, if you give a right click, you can see these options. Git bash here, Git UI here. So select Git bash here. Select Git bash here. Okay, so you see, now give ls, it should show your key pair. Now the command is same. Whatever Linux command you have used, ssh-i my linux kp.pem ec2-user @ give your instance public IP address. Then click on enter. Type yes to get connected to it. You see here, we got connected to this Linux instance. So if you want to use like, terminal just like Linux in Windows operating system, my suggestion, use this Git. It supports some basic Linux commands also. Okay, so this is another option we have. We have one more option, guys. Even somehow these all not working for you. Okay, but you want to get connected to a Linux instance. Then we have one easy option. Select the instance, click on connect. The first option, EC2 instance connect. Select EC2 instance connect. Default username is EC2-user. Then click on connect. Okay, now automatically within the browser, a terminal is open. Sometimes if your browser is not allowing pop-ups, allow the pop-up here. Okay, you see here, now I got connected to my instance. So you have easiest. Select the instance, click on connect, select instance connect, give the default username, then click on connect, automatically you will connect. If you're not able to connect here, the problem is with your security group. Set it anywhere. If you set it only my IP and if you try to use this, it won't work. Okay, so use this option. This is one option. Second, PuTTY. Third, if you want to use tools like different tools, so you can even try this option also. There is another widely used one tool, MobaXterm download. Go to this MobaXterm. It is a free edition. You see here, free edition. Download it. Okay, so just go with the portable edition. That's easy. So I'm going to save it. Saving in downloads. See, whatever tool you are using doesn't matter to me. End of the day, you are getting connected to your instance or not. Okay, you're practicing or not. That is matter to me. If one option is not working, don't stop there. You have remaining options, right? Try out different options. If nothing is working, browser option is there. Go and use at least browser option, but get connected to your Linux instance. Okay?
Mr. Avinash, in the real-time industry, what platform we will use for Linux? Either PuTTY or GitHub.
Both are widely used ones. PuTTY and GitHub both are widely used ones. PuTTY is very lightweight, and GitHub, most of the organizations, they are going to use GitHub to store the code to repository and all. So both will be available in your organizational devices. So you can use either PuTTY or you use either GitHub. Okay, so now this is completed. Okay, the installation is completed. This is a zip file. Just unzip it. Okay, so now this is the one. MobaXterm personal. Just open this. All right, just double click and open. Now the tool is opening. Okay, this is how exactly the tool looks like. MobaXterm tool looks like. All right, so now first here user session. So give a right click, new session. All right, so then select SSH. What is a remote host? Remote host is nothing but our public IP address. Give that instance public IP address. Specify username. Default username is EC2-user. Okay, so now go to advanced SSH settings. Right. Where is that? user private key. Select it, click on this link, go to desktop. On my key pairs folder, I have the PPK file. Let's select PEM file. We'll see what happened. I'm selecting PEM file. Click on OK. Now, you see here, it got connected. You can even go and use PPK file also. So you can use PEM or PPK. So this is another option you see here. So at a time, if you want to work on multiple servers, you go here, you take multiple terminals. It's bit easy. It's a third-party tool only, but like, you can go here, you can take another session. Okay, so this is another process. Got it? So whatever tool you're using doesn't matter to me. Okay, so clear with this Linux connectivity. If you have any questions, we can discuss now. Any questions from classroom?
Avinash, why can't we directly enable password while connecting to Linux instance instead of keeper? Of course, I do understand this is more secured.
No questions from classroom? Okay, so I got one question from online. Right. So can't we use users with the passwords? Of course we can. That is a task I'm going to give tomorrow. Okay. So generally, whenever we are connecting for the first time, we are using key pair to get connected for Windows machines. So similar way, here authentication is happening with the key pair. Once you got authenticated, so then simply you can go and set a password for EC2 iPhone user, or you can create additional user. You can enable permission directly log into that user. Okay, whatever we want, we can do that. But whenever we want to connect for the first time, so the authentication method is managed by AWS. So that's the reason we need to go with the key pair only. Once you got connected, it's completely in our handover. It's our responsibility to maintain. So we can set passwords for users. Again, we really no need to browse key pair always to get connected to it. Once you set a password, you don't require key pair, just like a Windows. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Sir, how to connect with PuTTY? Okay, I will repeat that, Mahesh. Where we can use private key in real time. See, private key is the one you are using to get connected to your Linux instance or Windows instance, right? So if you want to get connected to a brand new EC2 instance, we can use our private keys. Hope that answers your question, Rajesh. All right. So here, couple of tasks. Launch Linux EC2 instance and get connected to it. Okay. So then there is another website called linuxsurvival.com. Try to complete first module. This is for tomorrow, these tasks. Okay. So how to make it as a web server, that we will discuss in our next session. Okay, this is a URL. They will simply explain the Linux basic commands. Get familiar with that. And if you, so I hope you all registered to the Linux course I shared in Slack. Anyone not registered? Anyone not registered? Here I have shared.
Yeah, I have it registered.
Okay.
Avinash? Hello?
Yes.
Udemy course.
Can you please share it, Avinash, once again? I'll join.
See, I mentioned multiple times that coupon is going to expire in 4 days. Now I need to generate another set of coupons. So I will generate. But if you don't register today also or within 4 days, it will expire again. I don't generate again for coming 15 days. I'll generate today and I'll share it again in Slack. Okay. So who haven't registered, do it today. So then continue your practice. You skip that Linux installation part. Why? Because in AWS, you don't need to install any operating system. All right. We will launch, we will get connected to it. So now you know how to get connected to your Linux instance. So you are good to start that Linux course now. Complete that Linux course based on your availability. But don't neglect AWS. AWS is our primary focus. Secondary is that Linux. Whenever you have time, then only go with that Linux. Okay. So instead of using that virtual box and all, you use Amazon Linux instance, you continue the practice, that Linux. Okay. So I'll share that coupons in our Slack again. But make sure you registered this time. Whoever missed to register last time, right? You register this time. Okay, did we create a new user in IAM? Why we use Putty to replace VMware? I didn't get that question, Narendra. Yesterday you were using administrator, today you are using EC2. That users, that's a default username based on the operating system, Sripati. So what about private IP address where we use it? That we will discuss in our VPC, Rajesh. We will discuss that in our VPC module. Don't worry about IP addresses for now. We will discuss later. We'll come to that concept later. So we'll discuss it thoroughly. Again, this EC2 iPhone user, administrator user, these users, OS level users, not AWS users. Remember that. Okay. So now yesterday I gave some tasks, right? You guys did that? If anyone not performed, I'm going to do it now. You just observe. So the first task connected to Windows instance, that's completed. The second I asked you to set up a password for administrator. Okay. So go to tools, computer management. Okay. Open that computer management, local users and groups, users, administrator here. Give a right click, set a password. Click on proceed. If you are giving a simple password like a 12345, 12345, if you click on OK, it gives this error. Your password must have 8 characters, 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase. It should not resemble your account name, your email address. You need to follow all that complexity. So give a password. Okay. So I have given a password. Right. The password is set up now. So then what I asked you guys to do, I asked you guys to disconnect from the session, try to log in now. So it is asking for username and password, right? Give the username, password is whatever custom password. I'm not browsing any key pair. Then click on OK. So then I'm able to get connected to it. Did I browse a key pair? No. Did I use auto-generated password? No. So custom password is working. So now you don't require key pair. Now I ask you to create a new user. Right click, new user, give a username. I'm calling this user as Avinash. And the password. We'll do one thing. I'll use username as Anudeep. Why? Because I want to set password as Avinash@1234. Okay. So user must change password. Uncheck. Not really required. Create. So now a user created here. His name is Anudeep. Give a right click. Okay. Go to groups. Navigate to administrators. Add. Username is Anudeep. Check names. Click on OK. Apply. Okay. The user is now added to administrators group. Now provide remote desktop permissions. Remote desktop users. Go here. Add. Search for user you created. Then click on apply. Then click on OK. So the user is now added to remote desktop users also. Now just observe one thing. If I open command prompt, if I am giving who am I am working as administrator. Keep this aside. The session is open, administrator session is open. Now I'm going to add same IP address again. I'm adding same IP address again, but this time I'm going to provide username as a Anudeep, password as a Avinash@1234. Okay. Same different session is a friendly name I'm giving. Then add. Okay, this is the one, right? If I double click, I'm connecting to same EC2 instance. At a time, 2 sessions are open now to same EC2 instance. So 2 is free. If you need more than 2, you need to purchase a license from Microsoft. That license, we call it as a terminal license. You need to add terminal license. So then multiple users can connect to same server at a time. Defaultly 2 you will get. It's free. Okay, now I got connected here. If I open command prompt, if I am giving who am I, you see, I am working as Anudeep user in same machine. That is Anudeep user session. This is administrator session. Okay, that is a third task I gave you guys. Got it? Any questions?
Sir? Sir,
Yes, please.
is these all are different ways to connect with the Linux instance, sir, like PuTTY, Git?
Yes.
Okay.
So as Linux is an open source, multiple users, multiple teams developed multiple applications. That's the reason we have multiple. But if you take Windows, RDP is developed by Microsoft. That's the reason.
Okay.
What is the need of administrator access in real time? Without administrator access, can you do anything? Can you install anything? Can you modify anything? If you can't install anything, why you need a server? Right? If you can't do anything within the server, why you need a server? To do anything, you need administrator access. All right. So yeah, I'm uploading these things. Okay. I need to explain the termination protection. I enable termination protection while launching the instance, right? If I go here, if I'm trying to terminate, you see here, terminate instance option is in disabled state. But I done with my requirement. I want to delete this server. What I need to do? Disable termination protection. So for that, for this instance, we have not enabled. You see, it's enabled. But for this server only, terminate option is in disabled state. So termination protection is enabled for one or more selected instances. So what need to do? Select instance, go to actions, instance settings, change termination protection. Uncheck it. Then save. Now, yeah, just give a refresh. Now, terminate instance is enabled. So this is additional option to secure our resources from accidental terminations. Okay, I'm going to terminate Windows also. So make sure you terminate all your resources once you're done with the lab. Do not keep any resource in running state or stopped state. Terminate. If required, you launch a new one and you practice.
Oh, is it not necessary to?
Avinash, once explain how to upload the image in S3 bucket.
Once explain how to upload image. What is the error you are getting
Image.
whenever you are uploading? No, are you getting
It is
any error
not
while you are
showing
uploading?
image.
It's not showing image.
It is not showing
So
image.
you haven't uploaded
Not-
any image so far.
Yes, I uploaded image, but it is not showing. It is not showing.
What is the error it is giving, sir? I mean, the error. Is it
That
giving
means
any error?
error is not giving. not error is coming. That is showing only simple small size big. That means it is not saying it is like
Okay,
error is
you
not
want me
showing,
to,
but
okay, I got it. You want me to upload one image and you want me to open that.
Hi,
Okay,
Anush.
I'm taking one bucket.
Yeah.
1 second. Let's go one by one.
Okay.
Add files. Okay, I have an image here. I'm opening that image. Upload. Image file is uploaded. If I want to open as an IAM user, I can click on open and it is opening. If I want to make it public, I can go to actions, make public using ACL is in disabled state. The reason, navigate to permissions, block public access is enabled, edit, uncheck it, save, type confirm. Have you referred the document? Whenever you guys are facing any issue, you guys are directly coming to me or are you referring the document? I shared one book, right? So click on edit, enable ACL, I acknowledge, then save changes. Now go to object, select the object, actions, make public using ACL. Now this object is public. Go to that object. Here is the object URL. Copy that object URL, paste it in your browser. You see, that is working. Not only here, anywhere it will work. If you want to test it, I'm pasting that URL in our chat box. You test it.
Yes, Avinash, in HTML file it will not showing.
Sir, I already told you that you need to modify. Now, in place of that object URL, you gave this URL. Then it will work. Whatever code you have shared. So have you tried that? You posted personally or in Slack?
Yes.
You posted personally or in Slack? What is the name? No, you shared up in Slack only. So this is the URL you are giving, right? Now replace this URL. This is the URL you are using. First, upload this URL to your S3 bucket, make it public. Then copy this URL, replace this. Okay, so this will work. You got it, Lingareddy?
Not understanding, Avinash. You can take your image as example, you can upload them.
What is the thing you didn't understood here? Can you tell me what is the complex thing you are feeling here?
Avinash, you can take your image as example and you can upload that file.
So you want me to demonstrate your requirement here? So if you feeling complexity, just follow my examples I used. Don't go this much. If you are not a PHP developer, don't go this much in depth. If you know PHP, then you go with this. Okay. So now Share your complete code in chat box, whatever the code you are trying. You see here, it's working. Linga Reddy, you got it now. It's working.
Okay, Avinash.
Is that clear, or still you didn't understand?
Clear.
Okay.
Sir, good morning, sir. What you book shared, sir?
In Slack. Are you part of Slack?
No, sir.
Why?
I don't know how to add the Slack.
You don't know. I already demonstrated multiple times, right? To join to the Slack. I'm talking this thing from very long time onward. So you do one thing first, go to this URL. You have this URL at least?
No, whatever gave notepad that I have, sir.
No. Telugu vacha meeku?
Telugu, sir.
Okay. So నేను ఈ URL చాలా రోజుల నుంచి ఇస్తున్నాను కదా.
అవును సార్, మొన్న చెప్పారు.
ఈ URL లో ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఉంది slack.txt అని. ఓకే, ఈ slack.txt లోకి వెళ్తే మీకు ఒక లింక్ ఉంది. ఆ లింక్ తీసుకొని ఒక బ్రౌజర్ ఓపెన్ చేసి ఓకే ఎంటర్ చేసినాక ఇక్కడ కంటిన్యూ విత్ గూగుల్ అని ఉంటుంది.
సరే సార్.
సో అది క్లిక్ చేసి మీ యూజర్ నేమ్ పాస్వర్డ్ ఇస్తే మీరు స్లాక్ లో పార్ట్ అవుతారు. స్లాక్ లోకి జాయిన్ అయిన తర్వాత మీకు ఈ లెఫ్ట్ పెయిన్ లో అక్టోబర్ 2022 అని ఉంటుంది. దాంట్లో జాయిన్ అయితే ఓకే మీరు ఇక్కడ ఈ మెసేజ్ అన్నీ ఉంటాయి. దీంట్లో మీ యుడేమి కూపన్స్ ఈరోజు షేర్ చేసేవి ఇక్కడే ఉంటాయి. దాని నుంచి పైకి వెళ్తే మీకు AWS బుక్ కూడా ఇక్కడే షేర్ అయి ఉంటుంది. ఇక్కడ చూడండి, AWS బై అవినాష్ అని 250 పేజెస్ బుక్ ఉంటుంది. సో దీన్ని లోకల్ లో డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. ఓకే, సో దిస్ ఈస్ ఫస్ట్ థింగ్. అండ్ ఈ రోజు మీకే కాదు అందరికి చెప్తున్నాను, ఇది ఈ రోజు లినక్స్ కూపన్ కూడా ఇందులోనే షేర్ చేస్తాను. మీకు ఫ్యూచర్ లో ఏమన్నా ఇష్యూస్ ఉన్నా గానీ ఇక్కడ పోస్ట్ చేయండి.
సరే సార్.
ఓకే
సార్, ఆ URL కొంచెం పెట్టండి సార్.
ఏదండి?
అదే ఇప్పుడు అదే
దిస్ URL. ఓకే, నేను ఇక్కడ yes I'm pasting it in our chat box. Whoever don't have just use it.
సార్, యూజర్ నేమ్ పాస్వర్డ్ ఏది ఇవ్వాలి సార్? మన Gmail దా?
Slack కి yes, you Slack వచ్చేసి మీ Gmail యూజర్ నేమ్ పాస్వర్డ్ ఇవ్వండి.
సరే సార్, రైట్ సార్.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Avinash, on the security groups, while we are creating a Linux machine, no? So you mentioned like we can use one security groups for all the VMs, but ideally in real-time environment, so do we use one security group for all types of VMs like development?
No. We really don't use. See, for a group of resources, for example, you have 5 servers per one application.
Okay.
So then we will use one security group for that application. For another application, another security group. So we will segregate it application wise.
Oh, not on the environment like dev or production.
No. Not on dev environment production. Based on application, we will do that.
Okay, clear. Yeah. So it means that if you have two applications, let us say X and Y, so X application server should not be able to connect to Y application servers.
Yes, we control that by using security groups.
Okay.
Avinash?
Yes, please.
Yeah. You told us yesterday that after using just terminate out your instance, right?
Can you repeat your question?
Sorry for the disturbance. The thing is, yesterday you told that after your usage, just terminate your instances, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we are terminating the instances to avoid charge. That's it, right? There is no particular reason, right?
There is no other reason. I want you to save your free tier limitations.
Yeah, that's
future sessions we are going to launch 4 or 5 at a time.
Yeah, sure? Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions, guys?
Avinash, Ravi here.
Yes, Ravi.
So
Is it a good time to ask a question about the S3 bucket policy?
Bucket policy, yeah, you can.
I mean, it's been a long time, but I just wanted to check something. So if I want to restrict a user creating a bucket in a specific region, or a user to create a bucket only in a specific region, do I use the allow? I mean, while creating, do I use the allow one or the deny one? Because I remember you saying that the explicit deny would actually be more useful, or it will be considered the first, right?
Yes. So the requirement is you don't want to allow some user to create a bucket in a specific region. That's what the requirement, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then you can add a condition. So you really no need to depend on S3 policy in that scenario. Create a policy at IAM user level. Provide S3 full access, but you need to add a condition. I'll share that condition in Slack today, even along with you, couple of users also, like, similar issues, similar questions. So I'll create a policy and I'll share it.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
All right. So get familiar with instance launch and instance connectivity process. See you again tomorrow. Have a nice day, guys.